Hello, and welcome to Web Crawlers, the podcast where we do a deep dive into the weirdest, strangest, and most mysterious corners of the internet. We're called Web Crawlers because we're a podcast about interesting things we looked up on the web. I'm sure you do it all the time. I'm Allie Siegel.
And I'm Melissa Stetton.
We have a Patreon where you get access to ad-free episodes a day early, merchandise discounts, fun bonus episodes, and 1 to 2 bonus episodes a month.
Yeah.
This month, we're going to do a wrap-up or an update on previous episodes that we've done before.
Yeah, there's been a lot of updates on all the cases.
Yes.
That we've done.
There have been a lot of updates. There's an Army Hammer update.
Alec Murdoch.
Yes, Titanic updates. So look for that episode coming soon, as well as potentially episodes on our personal lives, things that are going on.
It's a mess.
Things are
our
going
personal
downhill.
Lives are shit.
We're in shambles. Also, we have an update that we'll post on the Patreon about what's going on with our podcast moving forward, things you might be interested about.
Oh, yeah.
$2 a month. Patreon.com/webcrawlers. Melissa, who are our patrons this week?
We have Stephanie and Shannon.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome.
Also, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and call into our hotline and leave a voicemail if you would like to be on our mailbag episodes. Leave a message about something we've discussed in an episode. Tell us a secret, a story, whatever you would like. The number is... Insert jingle here.
626 63 420 69. Nice.
Thank you, Joran, for making that for us.
Thank you.
Now, on to our main episode. This is crazy, and I haven't ever heard about it before.
Never heard of this bitch.
I've never heard of this bitch. Our sources are CrimeWire, Snapped, Crime Library, American Monster, Alabama Murder on Mystery Channel on ID.
Love it.
Also, ChatGPT. Help me out a little bit.
Do you know that it's ChatGPT?
Nope, I didn't know that until just now.
Have you been saying GB? I swear that you've been saying GBT. I'm like, oh, she's saying GPT. She just says P's weird.
Nope. It's just like it's just like in the other two where they're like, and we're pretty sure she's been saying the Peabody Award this whole time.
Sad news about the other two, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about that.
We'll talk about that on Bimbo News.
Yeah, Bimbo News. This is the story of Audrey Marie Hilley, who is a horrible person, but honestly, I'm kind of obsessed with how crazy she is. Okay. She got away with not totally got away, but she murdered her husband. She attempted to kill her daughter.
Okay.
They think she killed a few other people. She faked her own death. She played her own twin sister.
What?
Who doesn't exist. She made up a twin sister and then played her twin sister. She broke out of jail a few times. She was arrested on bad checks. This woman, she's done it all.
She does it all. I've never heard of her. What the hell?
I know. So this is the story of Audrey Marie Hilley, and she goes by Marie Hilley. Audrey Marie Hilley, known as the Black Widow, also was vaguely, I read, the inspiration for the movie Serial Mom.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true or not. She was born June 4th, 1933 in Blue Mountain, Alabama, which was is a very small town in Alabama, allegedly not a great place to live. High crime rate, not wonderful. And if Blue Mountain, Alabama seems familiar to you, it's because we've mentioned that place before. It's where another one of my favorite girl bosses is from, Nanny Doss, the giggling granny.
Oh yeah, how's she doing?
Yeah, pretty sure
how's Granny doing?
How's Granny Doss doing? Pretty sure she's dead by now. But
probably.
Yeah, so in Oh, she was in the 1950s, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if you remember her, but she killed a ton of people, and when she confessed to it, she was like giggling and laughing. She killed 11 people, including 5 husbands, 2 of her children, and her mother.
Damn.
Kind of similar to what we will learn about Audrey Marie Hilley. In the beginning, Audrey's early years seemed pretty normal. She won, I believe it was like most beautiful in junior high or high school. She always really cared about aesthetics and seeming normal from the outside and fitting in. Her family was not wealthy, and she always needed to spend whatever money they had on like new dresses, and it sets a tone that like she always really cared about fitting in and looking good. She married her high school sweetheart, unfortunately for him, Frank Hilley, and they had 2 children, Mike and Carol.
Brady.
Yes.
This is the origin story of the Brady
Bunch.
This
is also where the Brady Bunch comes from. Carol is sometimes known as Carrie. Marie wasn't a huge fan of Carrie because Carrie didn't care about the things that Marie cared about. Marie was all about men and always looking perfect. Her hair was always perfect. Her makeup was always perfect. She was always in a beautiful dress. And Carrie was a lesbian. She didn't care about the things that Marie cared about. And because of that, there was always like a rift between them. In the 1970s, Audrey's personality kind of started to shift, and who she truly was as a person started to be revealed. When the family got low on cash and Marie wasn't able to kind of keep up the lifestyle that she wanted, Frank walked in on her having sex with her boss, Walter, for money, apparently.
Walter!
Yes, Walter is at it again. And they never talked about the incident again.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah. Anytime Frank would ask, like, Marie was like, we're not discussing this. And she was doing it for money because she always needed like perfect cars, perfect house, perfect lifestyle, but it was anything but perfect on the inside. It's around this time that her husband, Frank, starts feeling sick.
I know what this means.
Yeah, exactly. He's constantly complaining of stomach aches and headaches, but he figures it's just like some sort of virus that
it's just COVID.
Yeah, he's COVID patient 0, that he has a hard time kicking. And he would go out on golfing trips with his son, Mike. Mike continued to grow more and more worried about him. And Mike had moved out of the house at this time, and he was married to a woman named Terry. Mike would talk to Terry and be like, I don't know what's going on with my dad, but he keeps getting like more and more sick, and we don't know what's wrong with him. Frank, the dad, would go in and out of the hospital, and even the people at the hospital were perplexed. And his liver enzymes were out of control, but he wasn't a real drinker. So no one really knew what was up. The hospital decided that perhaps he had infectious hepatitis.
Right.
Which is very rare to get and very rare to also spread. And then this is the weirdest part. Apparently they let him out of the hospital the next morning to go to work, which I'm like, if you have infectious hepatitis, why would they let you out of the hospital? That doesn't make sense
Typhoid
to me.
Mary.
Yeah. Yeah, hepatitis Frank. So, and then a few days later, Frank died. Yeah, at 45 years old.
That ain't hepatitis.
No, that ain't hepatitis. And obviously because they had diagnosed it with hepatitis, just because they didn't know what else it could possibly be,
right?
It became a public health issue. Yeah, because it's infectious. So they went to his job. I can't remember what he did. The public health department searched everywhere, and they could not find hepatitis.
It was hiding in the closet.
It was in the closet. They couldn't find it anywhere or on anyone. So they're like, we do not know how he would have gotten hepatitis. It just doesn't make sense. And of course, he had a life insurance policy of $31,000.
Well, that was back in the 70s?
This was in the 70s.
Oh, so that's like, what?
Yeah, you're good at this math.
200 grand now or something?
Yeah. Marie used all of the funds, or not all of the funds, but most of the funds to keep up appearances. She bought a new car. She bought tons of new clothing. She bought
shopping spree.
Yeah, women be shopping and killing their husbands. She bought her mom a new diamond ring.
That's nice.
Yeah, she did buy stuff for other people too, but they all suit to make her look better also, and the family looked more glamorous. She bought her son Mike several $300 suits, apparently.
Damn.
And she bought her daughter a new car.
Okay.
Potentially maybe one that looked less lesbian than she had.
What is a lesbian car? Like a Honda Civic or something?
Who knows? If you're gay and you listen, call in about what cars you think are lesbian.
A Subaru.
Yeah.
Subaru.
Now, people at first at this point didn't really suspect that Audrey Marie was the person who did anything to Frank.
Why would they?
Yeah, they were like, when Frank was dying, she really seemed to care for him. She would feed him and give him tea and make sure he was.
I bet she was.
Yeah, and make sure he was always eating. It turns out, of course, spoiler alert, that bitch was feeding him arsenic.
Man.
Yeah.
A classic method of death to kill your significant other, like back in the day.
Yeah, because I guess it's like you just get it from rat poison. Right,
it's hard to... Didn't we have, like, wasn't it a fruit seed or something? Remember, I feel like we had this conversation.
Yes,
like
peach pits, I think.
Peach pits.
Yeah. And I think also avocado pits.
Oh, some sort of pit, but it had to be like, you had to extract it somehow.
And you have to have like a ton of it also. But I think at this point, like, things weren't...
They're not testing for arsenic.
Yeah, well, yes, but also I just mean in terms of the rat poison, I don't think there is really safety measures.
Oh, so right.
I mean, now people I don't think rat poison has arsenic.
Poison all the like DEET or whatever the stuff you spray on your plants.
Yes, Roundup or whatever.
Roundup, yes.
Yeah, it's like if you have used Roundup and now your brain's exploding, join this class action lawsuit. So now Audrey has always really loved her son, Mike. He was kind of always a favorite child because she always thought that Carrie was a disappointment because
she was a lesbian
and Audrey is a homophobic bitch murderer. So all of a sudden, Mike's pregnant wife starts getting sick too.
What? I thought Mike was her favorite son, favorite kid.
Maybe she wants him all to herself. Yes. So at this point, Mike and Terry had moved into Audrey Marie's house to kind of take care of her and make sure she was okay after the death. Terry starts kind of having the same symptoms as Frank, headaches, nausea. And at first, because she's pregnant, they're like, okay, it must be morning sickness. So they let it go on for a while. But eventually she ends up in the hospital and the doctors are like, no, this is not morning sickness. It's something else. The doctors begin to worry that perhaps she had contracted hepatitis from Frank. The doctors say, we actually have a shot that can help you with the hepatitis that might make you feel better. But we don't know if it will conflict with your pregnancy or your fetus. So we need to call your gynecologist. Audrey Marie is like, don't worry. I'll call the gynecologist for you and I'll let you know what the gynecologist says.
Audrey Marie, you ain't doing shit.
First of all, though, I thought it was weird that the hospital just wouldn't know that. Like,
wouldn't they know more?
Yes.
Because
I would think
it's a hospital.
I would think that
that's
like
weird.
A specialist at a hospital would know more than just a gynecologist. But
yeah, they would know like interactions of medications.
That would be my assumption. But so for some reason, the hospital's like, thank you, Marie. Yeah, give the gynecologist a call and let us know what the gynecologist says.
That's insane.
Yes. And so Marie, of course, is like, yes, hospital, the shot's totally okay.
She like fake calls him. She's like, hello, is this hospital? doctor, is the shot okay? You know, the hepatitis. Yeah, she says it's okay.
They say it's fine. And the doctor was a woman.
And the doctor was a woman.
And of course, Terry ends up suffering a miscarriage.
Oh no.
I know.
Because she had the shot.
Had the shot and then also had been being poisoned with arsenic.
Right.
It's probably, it was probably a double whammy.
Jesus.
Terry and Mike continue to stay with Audrey Marie after the miscarriage so that she can recuperate. And while she's recuperating from the miscarriage, she ends up in the hospital 4 different times.
Oh my God.
With the same symptoms. And they're like, this is so weird. We don't know.
And they don't put 2 and 2 together like, oh, Frank died.
I think the hospital is like, there's some sort of illness in this house.
Secret illness.
What is this? What is this weird hepatitis thing that's going on in this home? Why can't we figure out what it is?
I'd be like, someone's probably poisoning someone, and I get fired from the hospital.
At this point, I've watched so much investigation discovery that I'm like, it's the mom.
Poison.
But that's part of it. She was so friendly and everyone liked her within the town. And she was always dressed so beautifully, always kept up appearances that people were like,
she's rich. She can't be crazy.
It can't be her. Also, it's funny later in the episode, the cops are like, whenever we went to her house and she would give us like coffee and pastries, like we always felt really sick when we got home. Like, this bitch was just poisoning everyone. Like, she used arsenic like it was like salt. Like, I don't.
It's fun. It's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So then she doesn't succeed in killing Terry. At this point, I guess money maybe is getting low or running out. Right. So she's, I think, hoping to get home insurance or jewelry insurance or whatever kind of insurance you can get that's not life insurance. So she comes home one day and she calls the cops and says, all the drawers in the kitchen are wide open and I think someone like burgled my house and like some of my jewelry is missing and this is like all non-existent jewelry. And she says that she's getting like nuisance calls from people and they're just like hanging up. And then the cops are like, okay, we'll screen your phone calls. And then suddenly Marie's like, oh, the calls aren't happening anymore.
Oh, they stop. Weird.
Yes. At this point, like Mike and Terry had moved out because, well, like for a few reasons, like Terry kept getting sick and they're like, you know, it's been enough time since, you know, Frank had died. We can move back home.
Yeah.
But Mike had heard about all these alleged like break-ins and scary calls, and Audrey Marie convinced Mike to move back into the house to protect her. Mike and Terry moved back into the house with her. Now, things are so tense and weird that Mike and Terry tell Audrey Marie, like, we're going to go live in an apartment near you, but we'll still check on you every day. But like, we need our own space. Audrey Marie feels abandoned, and she does not like to feel abandoned or not number one.
Uh-oh.
Mysteriously, the day before they're supposed to move out, a random fire breaks out in Marie's home and burns it so badly that Marie has to move out for repairs. So, what do you know? Now everyone has to move into Mike's apartment.
God.
So not only now is she getting money for repairs, but she also gets to live with her son now. So she's like some weird obsession with her son. So once her house is finally fixed, weirdly enough, a fire breaks out in the apartment next to Mike and Terry's.
Oh no.
Causing smoke damage. So now Mike and Terry have to move back into Marie and Audrey's house when Marie moves.
What a crazy way to have to move. Just setting fires everywhere.
Yeah, that's her like means of manipulating people, just like setting fires.
Oh no, there's a fire. We gotta move.
And she's not done with fires yet. When she moves back into her house, she continues to call the cops and insurance companies saying that there's a fire in her house. And the cops or fire department comes in. There's like, where's the fire? We see no evidence of a fire. And she's like, oh, it was in the closet. And they're like, how did a fire start in a closet? Like, there's no wiring in there. There's nothing electrical. It's just like coats. How does it start in a closet? And she's just trying to collect money from insurance companies as much as she can. But it's just not working out for her. Then for some reason, the whole family moves to Florida. I think like Mike and Terry want to just get away from the mom.
Right.
And then, but Audrey Marie is like, I'll come with because she's nuts. Then Audrey Marie takes out a $20,000 life insurance policy on herself, and which is convenient because then whatever. And a $14,000 policy on her daughter, Carrie. Whenever someone takes a life insurance policy out on you or whatever, like you're in.
It's such a big mistake. If you're planning on killing someone, don't take a life insurance policy out immediately before. You gotta wait like, I don't know, at least 5 years.
Yeah, especially like if there's a string of deaths and sicknesses around you, just like wait it out.
Wait 5 years.
Yes. That's the Melissa code.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. I know.
Melissa's Guide to Murder. Then she tried to take a loan out to buy herself a car, but she still owed money on a previous loan. And the guy was like, no. So she has, at this point, like nowhere to really live because she's running out of money. And so the whole family moves in with her deceased husband, Frank's mother, and their family. The family's like, listen, because at this point, they don't know that it was her who murdered Frank.
Oh, right.
They just think he died of infectious hepatitis, mysterious infectious hepatitis.
Died of the consumption.
Yeah. So Frank's mom is like, yes, you can live here, but you need to pay half of the utility bills. For some reason, Marie is like, I'm not going to pay the bills. Carrie, the daughter, you can pay the utility bill. And cool. Carrie's like, okay, like I'm a kid, but sure. So Carrie would give her mom the money for the bill to give to the family. And then Marie would not give it to the family. She would pocket it and just gamble.
Gamble?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I wonder what her game was.
I know. I wonder if it was like slots. It was roulette.
Slots.
Yeah. I could imagine her just like blasting cigs and just like,
the Wheel of Fortune slots.
Put it all on red. Now Carrie's becoming a problem because Frank's family's like, where is the money? They're running out of money. This life insurance policy is looking pretty good. Carrie's like, where's the money? I'm going to you going. And so Audrey Marie's way of dealing with problems is the good old arsenic method. Suddenly, Carrie starts experiencing health issues. And the same symptoms like headache, stomach ache, nausea. She's also having trouble walking. They take her to the hospital and they're like, we don't know what this is, but since you're a woman, it's probably psychosomatic and you're probably hysterical.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're just crazy.
You're just crazy and you're probably on your period.
No.
So things keep getting worse and worse. She keeps getting sicker and sicker. And she's getting depressed because she's a young girl and she wants to be with her friends and go out and have a good time. And she tries to commit suicide by swallowing a bottle of Tylenol.
Oh, no.
And it doesn't work. And she ends up in the hospital. And the hospital's like, of course, this is further proof that the way you're feeling is psychological.
No.
You're just depressed. And she ends up in a psych ward for testing. Of course, though, none of this is true. She's being...
Right.
Yeah, she's being arsenic poisoned. A nurse there, this nurse named Julie Turner, is like, something isn't right here. It's not necessarily psychosomatic if you like can't walk and you're vomiting and you're having headaches and all this stuff, and it's getting worse and worse. And eventually they test her blood level, and they find that there's arsenic in Carol's system.
Of course.
And this is kind of like eventually a break in the case because they're like, okay, she has the same symptoms as like everyone else who was around.
It's
Audrey
crazy
Marie.
they didn't test the dad or the daughter-in-law.
Because at that point, they didn't suspect any foul play. This is from Oxygen.com. Some people in the Hilley family, including Mike, the son, thought Carol's symptoms were eerily similar to those that killed her father, obviously.
Right.
Apparently, Marie had volunteered to give Frank injections of medicine while Frank was sick. And the family soon learned that Marie was doing the same for the daughter. Mike contacted the hospital staff, and the hospital was like, we never gave injections to anyone. And so, I mean, that was like the arsenic, I guess. She was probably just like injecting them with rat poison. So then Mike called the Anniston Police Department and was, it says, shocked to learn that the mother was already under investigation for writing bad checks.
Oh.
So authorities arrested Marie for check fraud that fall, and Carol was moved to another hospital and given a toxicology test. They found such significant levels in Carol's blood that there was no question she had been poisoned.
Dang.
And then there was the thing about the life insurance policy that obviously was suspicious because Marie was the beneficiary. And it's weird for a parent to take out a life insurance policy on their kid. It's like your kid is supposed to live longer than you. Yeah. So then they exhumed Frank's body. The dad's body.
Here we go.
The husband's body, to be like, they had the same symptoms. So what happened here? He also had arsenic in his body, 10 to 100 times the average amount. So Marie was soon indicted for the attempted murder of Carol, and several months later, she was charged with Frank's poisoning.
Whoa.
But to back up, though, Audrey vanished in 1979.
Sure. Gotta skip town.
You gotta skip town. Leaving Carrie/Carol in critical condition in the hospital, like unable to walk and all this stuff. She moved to Florida and she didn't change her name officially, but she started calling herself Robbie Hannon.
Robbie Hannon.
Yeah, it's like, that's such a random...
Robbie Hannon.
Yeah, I don't know. But she met and married a man named John Homan.
Robbie Hannon, John Homan. Robbie Hannon.
Robbie Hannon Homan.
Okay.
And he didn't know anything about, he thought she was Robbie. He didn't know anything about who she really was. In 1982, and I've heard conflicting stuff about this. I heard that she never hurt John.
Oh.
And then I also heard that at one point her new husband John also fell ill and was experiencing the same symptoms.
Okay.
I don't know which story is true because I heard conflicting stories.
Right.
So all of a sudden, Robbie, aka Aubrey, tells John that she is sick and that she needs to go home to get medical care and that she's going to stay with her twin sister, who he's never met, named Terry Martin. Who does not exist. Everyone in this story is Aubrey.
Also, Terry's the name of her daughter-in-law.
Yeah, like it's just so
confusing.
crazy.
So many names.
So John is like, okay, like if you're sick and have to go home, like this is weird, but sure. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, Robbie.
Yeah. So Robbie leaves, and then all of a sudden, John gets a call from her quote unquote twin, Terry, saying, hey, I need to let you know.
This is Terry. This is Audrey's twin.
Hello there.
Hello, my name is Terry. Terry, I'm a twin. Why do I have a different accent? We were separated at birth.
You ever seen The Parrot Trap? So Terry says, hey, I just want to let you know your wife, Robbie, died and her body's used for science. So you're never going to see the body.
That's such a funny thing to be like, oh, by the way, he died and the body's being used for science.
Yeah, so you're not going to see it. But I'm probably going to visit you at some point. So,
so
John's like, what? Like, okay.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So then Robbie, Terry, Aubrey, she loses 50 pounds.
Damn, they had Ozempic back then.
She goes on a Slim Fast diet. She dyes her hair platinum blonde.
Uh-oh, like someone else we know.
Yeah, if you're on the Patreon, you'll see I dyed my hair platinum. And then she goes back to visit John.
Right.
And like kind of tries to seduce him and date him. And
because he thinks this is the twin.
Yeah, he thinks this is the twin.
Right, okay.
And he thinks his wife is dead and that the twin sister is visiting him because...
And she's 50 pounds lighter.
50 pounds lighter with blonde hair.
Okay.
And John is like, okay, I buy it. And everyone else is like, John, this is the same person except blonde. And
duh,
like
they're twins.
Yeah. Also, the obituary for Robbie in the newspaper like doesn't add up.
There was an obituary?
Yes, because I guess like she was trying to make it real. And because I think like when you die, like does there have to be an obituary? I don't know.
I think so. There has to be some. Yeah, I think it has to be like printed in the newspaper or something.
Yeah. And I guess like the obituary made no sense because this person doesn't exist. Like it was probably like Mad Libs. It was like Robbie likes long walks on the beach. She's dead now.
Oh yeah, she's not a
science.
real person.
You know, like, and everyone's like, this makes no sense, John. Like, who is this person? So I guess John confronts her. Terry, Robbie, Aubrey confesses to John for whatever reason. John seems to be maybe the only person who she really loves.
Right.
Is like, okay, here's the real story. My name is Aubrey. I'm on the lam because all I have is just some bad checks that I wrote. She doesn't tell him about all the arsenic, though.
Just a few bad checks.
Just a few bad checks.
That's nothing.
And
We've
John's like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, let's just take you back, I guess. Because, you know, men really do love crazy blondes. So
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They be loving blondes.
They be loving crazy blondes. So the cops, after, you know, she confesses and everyone, all of John's friends are like, this is not good. The cops end up finding Audrey Marie and she faces justice. Her trial is a media sensation, apparently.
Oh.
And they call her the Black Widow.
I feel like they've called a lot of women killers Black Widows.
Well, a Black Widow, because the Black Widow spider kills their mate after they mate.
Good nickname.
So they just call women killers that.
Okay.
So her defense team tried to say that she had multiple personality disorder and that she wasn't responsible for her actions. But at this point,
gag.
Right. At this point, they had exhumed Frank's body and saw the arsenic poisoning. They know that she had attempted to kill her daughter. And her mother had died of breast cancer under her care. But she had also had the same symptoms as all the other people.
Dang.
And so it's assumed that she had also been arsenic poisoning her mother.
Crazy.
Even though the official diagnosis of death was breast cancer.
Right.
And she was charged with first-degree murder.
Damn.
Now, this is what's crazy. So Audrey Marie is known, obviously, for like keeping up appearances and being charming and all this kind of stuff. And for some reason, like men seem to be drawn to her. So when she's in jail, she befriends the warden. And she's granted unsupervised trips out of jail.
What?
Yes. So
she gets insane.
I know. So she gets a 3-day unsupervised trip out of jail.
Then you're not in jail.
Right. And she goes with John, who I guess is still into her after hearing that she killed her husband and tried to kill her daughter. I don't know what this woman's pussy is like, but I guess it's magic. Yeah.
It's the blonde hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
So the morning she's supposed to go back to prison, she says to John, like, I would like to stop at my mother's grave just to see it, you know, before I go back to jail, just like to say hi to it and just tell my mom I love her. Of course, Marie never came back.
No.
Yeah, she goes on the run. And it's a cold, rainy month. Temperatures are very low. And the police are like, we don't know how she's going to survive out there. We don't know how she could be surviving in these
she left John even.
Yeah, she told John, she's like, I'm going to go like take the car. Like, hand me the keys, John. I'm heading to the cemetery. And she just left. And I guess, or maybe she just walked there. I don't understand how these...
She's like, okay, well, I gotta go, and just ran off.
Yeah.
Just into the woods.
Just full sprint.
Okay.
And one day this person goes out onto their porch and they see this like woman kind of like passed out in the rain, and they call the cops, and it's Audrey Marie. And they take Audrey Marie to the hospital, and she dies of hypothermia.
Whoa.
Yeah, having never really served any jail time. So
Dang.
She ends up passing away. Okay, wait, this is crazy. This says 2 months after her initial arrest, Marie made bail. Her defense attorney put her up in a hotel, but on November 18, 1979, she went missing. A note found in her hotel room said she was kidnapped and told her attorney not to follow her. Okay, so that's when she left the first time and became her identical twin.
Okay. So she escaped.
She escaped her sentencing when she was out on bail.
Crazy.
So she's dead now. Carol fortunately survived. She was unable to walk for several years doing the poisoning, but she's fine now. There's some interviews with her.
Yeah, she's still alive.
I watched my favorite guy who like does personality, that psychologist.
Oh, that YouTube guy who just like roasts everyone.
Yeah, that mean psychologist who's like, this bitch. I guess apparently Audrey Marie would go through periods where she would talk like a 1-year-old. So says her ex-husband, John. So that lent the psychologist to believe that she might have had some sort of like medical or psychological disorder.
Yeah.
Or perhaps he was just saying that to kind of like write off her crimes. I don't know. But he suggested that maybe she had antisocial histrionic disorder or narcissistic borderline disorder.
Sure, I believe it.
Yeah, so I don't know. There are a lot of books and documentaries and movies on this. There's Poison Blood by Philip Ginsberg. There's also like a Lifetime movie or something. What is it?
Oh, I bet.
Oh yeah, Wife, Mother, Murderer from 1991.
Ooh. Oh, is it starring Judith Light?
Yeah, starring Judith Light. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Martin was at this like a few years ago at this like Writers Guild. I think it was a Writers Guild meeting or something. It was like they had to partner up or like talk to someone who was sitting next to you, and like he had like a tap on his shoulder and turned around and it was like Judith Light, and he was like, oh, hello, and like they had a discussion about like
shut up.
Right. Yeah, it's very funny.
They're doing like first day of class exercises.
They were doing something.
That's amazing.
She was very nice.
So if you have seen the movie Wife, Mother, Murderer, or if you want to watch it and call in, or if you know any information on this case, Melissa, where can people reach us?
You can email us at webcrawlerspod@gmail.com.
All right. Well, I'm Allie Siegel.
I'm Melissa Stetton.
And that's all, folks.
That's all, folks. Goodbye.